Good evening. No, it is not Saturday morning. No, it is not the weekend. So why am I coming on here and about to read a book? Oh my goodness. Some can call it serendipity. So many circumstances and situations fell in line where I am being moved to share a book because exactly 3 weeks from now, we're planning to have the Christmas or winter holiday assembly. And I was inspired to reintroduce my young students, well, pretty much all students, back to piano playing and the fundamentals. Even though they're great vocalists, they're great composers, they're great artists, but there are so many great holiday songs that they can perform on the piano. So I knew the next book would be about Florence Price, and even though that's for Saturday morning, I said, you know what? Let's dive into this book. And if you hear some music in the background, that's classical pianist Michelle Kahn. Yes, performing her sonata in E minor. Michelle Kahn, yes, a sister girl. So, Florence Price. Let's delve into this short book. Hopefully I won't run out of time. But it's about young musicians tell the story of a girl and her music. And I know this was produced and published a couple years ago, I believe, during the pandemic. But you see this front inside cover. Oh, Florence Price was very active in the 1930s. We're going to read about her biography. But she wrote this violin concerto, number 2. Wow. And this looks like this is a concert program. Oh my goodness. Is this light sufficient? Let me fix this. Okay. Is that light sufficient? Yeah. Oh, I hope the shadows. Okay, yeah, this is a little better. Okay. And this is entitled the Honor Night Program by the National Association of Negro Musicians. Yes, and we see different artists, and Florence played her piano concerto number 3 in C minor. So cool. Who is Florence Price? All right. And it was written and illustrated by the students. So they wrote the words and drew the pictures, or produced the pictures. This was produced in 2021, just last year. And these are from the students of the Special Music School at Kaufman Music Center in New York City. Oh, so this is really exciting. All right. In 2009, let's see, hopefully you can see these pictures. In 2009, a couple bought an old house outside of Chicago. In the attic, they found boxes filled with yellowed sheets of music. Every piece was written by the same woman, Florence Price. Who is Florence Price, they wondered? Oh, so this was back in 2009, approximately 13 years ago. And they didn't know about Florence Price. Well, look. Oh, these are beautiful. In 1887, whoa, we're talking about over 110 years ago, 120 years ago, just a long time. 1887, 1987. And then another 35 years. Well, just know it's a long time. Well, in 1887, a girl named Florence Price was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. Her father was a dentist and her mother was a piano teacher. That makes sense. Her parents did not know that their baby girl would grow up to become a brilliant composer. I don't know how they didn't know that. And the parents were brilliant. Look at this. Oh, this is beautiful. Florence's house was filled with music as she grew up. She loved to play the piano like her mom. Her fingers could make music come to life. Sitting at the grand piano, little Florence had big dreams. Yeah, just like you had big dreams. When she was only 4 years old. Now, see, I have some pre-K students who are 4. That's why I was like, oh no, they have to get back to playing the piano virtually. I'm giving lessons at night after school for free. Come on. It starts at 4 years old. Come on, it's never too late. So, she was 4. Florence played her first concert at 4. Oh my goodness. This is the 4th day of the school week. We were holding up 4 fingers today in the pre-K. 4 years old. She had her first concert. Oh, now we know we're going to get busy. Her fingers flew across the keys as people watched, amazed. She was bursting with talent. Yes, ready to share her dreams with the world. We're talking about a genius at 4. Look at this. All right, yeah, we recognize these composers. The one who always looked like he was frowning, right? Because he suffered a lot of abuse and then he lost his hearing. Yeah, we know that's Ludwig van Beethoven. And we know, I believe that, now listen, I know that's a Baroque composer. Yes, oh, now, that's Bach. That has to be Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach. You know, they all wore these white powdered wigs. Well, let's see. Florence's mind was filled with music, but she had a big question. She was a girl and her skin was a different color than so many of the composers she knew about. Could she grow up to be a famous composer too? When Florence was only 11, come on, that's what? 5th, 6th grade. She was only 11. Her first piece was published. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. Her first piece was published. Was it possible that Florence's music could change things? 11 years old. I'm thinking about my 5th and 6th graders. Oh, and my middle schoolers. Oh, we got to be busy now. Yeah, I'm about to set it off now. Now she was even more determined. I know I'm determined too, girl. Thank you for that inspiration. Florence worked her hardest in everything she did. She wrote and studied and studied. Yeah, tonight I have to post progress report grades. And this is the time where we make adjustments. Like, okay, I didn't do as great as I wanted to do. So we're going to work hard and study, and we're going to push it in high gear. That's for all of us, students, teachers, all of us. So Florence Price, we know what you were talking about. Look at all these people. Yeah. When Florence was 14, she graduated with the highest grades in her class. Wow. Who is Florence Price? The highest grades in her class. People ask, who is she? But Florence wanted to be known for more than just her grades. She wanted people to know her music. So this young lady was very ambitious. She didn't want to settle in one area of excellence. And that's with our students too. Yeah, they're good with sports. Yeah, they're good with maybe gaming and design, but we want them to be, what is that? Renaissance youth, right? Renaissance, right? Look that up. But that's someone who is multi-talented and so much, like Leonardo da Vinci. Not only was he a scientist, but an artist and a musician and inventor and so much. You're Renaissance. Yes, you are. Soon, Florence moved to Boston to study music at the New England Conservatory. In no time, the director of the conservatory noticed how hard she worked. Yes, we're going to work hard too. Look at this. He was amazed by how much she cared about music. Where does it come from? He asked Florence. I hear it inside of me every day, she replied. And after 2 years, Florence was asked to publish another composition. So she started at what age composing and publishing music? Yeah, 11. Soon the world will hear my music, Florence thought, hope growing in her heart. She happily accepted the offer and ran straight to her desk to keep writing. Yeah, that's what we have to do. We have hearts that are full of potential, but we have to get quiet and discover what's inside of us. Remember, the root word of music and amusement and museum, right, is the muse. And that's how we could become quiet and create great things and become still, and we'll hear the inspiration within us, that muse. Let's see this. As she grew older, Florence's heart was not only filled with music, but with love for her daughters. She became a piano teacher to support her family. How about that? Now she had to write at night and began to compose her first symphony, her major creative work of music. Wow. Florence would make music any spare minute she had. She was so busy that it seemed impossible to find time to finish her symphony. When she accidentally broke her foot, she joked, I found it possible to get extra days to write my piece. You see that? In bed. But oh dear me, when will I ever be able to break a foot again? She reminds me of so many artists where they fell ill, and that's when they created great art. So many, oh my. Pablo Picasso fell ill, and I'm going to mess up her name. I can't call her name, with a unibrow. Remember, she was in a bad car accident. Oh, not Nina. Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo, remember, she was hit by a bus, and oh my goodness, she broke so many bones and was in bad shape. But you better believe she was painting. Her parents bought her an art set where she was able to create. And I don't think she had the use of her arms and hands, but she had the use of her mouth. And yes, she did put that paintbrush in her mouth. And she created art. That reminds me of Johnny Erickson Tata, a paraplegic, where she, at 14 years old, had a diving accident. And she became a quadriplegic, or she just could not use her body from the neck down. But look her up. She's inspiring, and she's still alive today, doing great work. So get up. Ooh, aren't these inspiring people? Florence wanted an orchestra to play her symphony when it was finished. She entered competitions and wrote letters to many conductors. She began to think she might never hear her music performed because of racist views. Not one orchestra was willing to play her symphony. Nevertheless, she continued writing letters and hoping. She had persistence. And that's what we're going to have to be great scholars, whatever we put our hand to do. Late into the night, Florence sat at her piano and wrote music from the bottom of her heart. One morning, Florence got a letter from Frederick Stock, who was the conductor of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. We're supposed to take a field trip in a few days to the CSO. So hopefully some of our pre-K students and kindergarteners will see that this is where she started. At the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, he received a letter. Florence got a letter from Frederick Stock. He was a conductor. We know who the conductor in front of the orchestra. He wanted to perform her symphony. Florence was overjoyed. Maybe there's hope after all, she said to the rising sun as her dreams came into reach. Yeah, that's what happens when we work hard. Look at this. In 1933, Florence's first symphony was performed in Chicago. The audience watched in trance. They were so surprised. Like, yes, there were so many people. The violins sang, the trumpeters rang, and people cheered when the final note sprang in the hall. Florence beamed. 1933, the year my mom was born. Yeah, great things in that year. Soon other orchestras played her work, and her music became so popular it was played on television. The American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers invited her to become a member. That was a big deal, and it still is. At last, her music was known and heard by the world. Florence's dream had come true because she persisted. Many years later, Florence's neighbors noticed something was missing. Florence's piano had fallen silent. After that, her beautiful music was rarely heard. Many of her works were even thought to be lost. But then in 2009, a couple bought an old house outside of Chicago. In the attic, they found boxes filled with yellowed sheets of music. Every page was written by the same composer, Florence Price. Who is Florence Price? They wondered. And with that, a new story began. Today, Florence's music can be heard all around the world, just like she dreamed of when she was young. If someone asks, who is Florence Price? You can tell them. She was someone who was full of inspiration, determination. She was gifted. She was a genius, like so many of our students. Oh my goodness, I don't want this to run out. I want you to make sure that you look her up. She's great. And wow. The Chicago Symphony Orchestra, me, composer in residence, wrote this about her. I believe in young people's capacities as teachers, historians, and creative visionaries to make a brighter and more inclusive world. And she did this while pursuing her passion. Thank you, Jessie Montgomery, for commenting on Florence Price. And I'm just saying, she is very inspiring. She's no longer with us, but she's someone to take note of. So during this holiday season, remember the people who have gone before us, who have left us inspiring works, and let's go and do great things and excellence. It's in us. It's in us in this holiday season and every day of the year. Yep, Florence loved her mother's piano playing and wanted to be just like her. When she was just 4 years old, she played her first piano concert. Yeah, she was great, and we're great. Now let's go do some great things.